The unexpected breakthrough. Dr. Samantha Chen stood before the gleaming metal behemoth that was the experimental faster-than-light drive. Her heart raced with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. For years, the scientific community had insisted that FTL travel was impossible, a pipe dream relegated to the realms of science fiction. But here, in this secret facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Samantha and her team were about to prove them all wrong. Final systems check complete, called out Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. We're ready for the test firing. Sam. Samantha took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the faces of her team. They were the best and brightest Earth had to offer, handpicked from research institutions around the globe. Each of them had sacrificed years of their lives for this moment, driven by the shared dream of unlocking the stars. "All right, people," Samantha said, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "This is what we've been working towards. Let's make history." As the team took their positions, Samantha couldn't help but reflect on the long and arduous journey that had brought them to this point. It had started with a seemingly innocuous discovery in quantum mechanics, a tiny anomaly that most had dismissed as experimental error. But Samantha had seen something more, a glimmer of possibility that had set her on this path. The governments of Earth, recognizing the potential of FTL travel, had poured resources into the project. They knew that whoever cracked the code of faster-than-light travel would hold the key to humanity's future among the stars. Initiating power-up sequence, Marcus announced, his voice cutting through Samantha's reverie. The air in the cavernous test chamber began to hum with energy. Samantha watched as the FTL drive's components sprang to life, pulsing with an otherworldly blue glow. Streams of data flowed across the monitoring screens, a symphony of numbers and graphs that told the story of their creation. "Power levels stable," reported Dr. Yuki Tanaka, her eyes never leaving her station. "No anomalies detected in the quantum field generator." Samantha nodded, her fingers absently tracing the outline of the lucky coin in her pocket, a memento from her father, who had always encouraged her to reach for the stars. "Proceed to stage 2, she commanded. The hum in the chamber intensified, rising to a fever pitch that set teeth on edge and made hair stand on end. Warning klaxons blared as the drive pushed beyond the theoretical limits of known physics. "We're approaching the critical threshold," Marcus shouted over the din. "Quantum fluctuations are off the charts." Samantha's eyes were glued to the central monitor, watching as the energy readings climbed higher and higher. They were in uncharted territory now, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge with every passing second. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupted from the drive, forcing everyone to shield their eyes. When the glare faded, Samantha blinked in astonishment at the sight before her. Where the FTL drive had stood, there was now a shimmering portal of swirling energy. Through it, they could see a vista of stars unlike anything visible from Earth, constellations twisted into unfamiliar patterns, nebula of impossible colors painting the cosmic canvas. "My God," whispered Yuki, her voice filled with awe. "We did it. We actually did it." The team erupted into cheers and embraces, the gravity of their accomplishment sinking in. Samantha felt tears of joy streaming down her face as she stared into the portal. They had done the impossible. They had opened a gateway to the stars. As the initial euphoria began to subside, Samantha's mind raced with the implications of their breakthrough. Humanity now held the key to interstellar travel. The solar system, once the limit of their reach, had suddenly become just the first step on a journey of cosmic proportions. "All right, everyone," Samantha said, her voice thick with emotion. "Let's run a full diagnostic. I want to know everything about what just happened. And someone get me a secure line to the UN Space Agency. They're going to want to hear about this." As the team scrambled to collect data and analyze the results of their successful test, Samantha allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. She thought of all the scientists who had come before her, who had dreamed of this moment but never lived to see it. She thought of the generations to come, who would grow up in a world where the stars were within reach. But most of all, She thought of the challenges and wonders that lay ahead. For in opening this door, humanity had taken its first step onto a stage of cosmic proportions, and Samantha knew, with a certainty that resonated in her bones, that nothing would ever be the same again. Little did Samantha and her team know that their triumphant breakthrough was about to catapult humanity into a galactic arena they never could have imagined. As they celebrated their victory, far beyond the reaches of their solar system, alien eyes turned their gaze towards Earth, alerted by the ripples of the FTL test in the fabric of space-time. The age of Earth's isolation was over. Humanity was about to face its greatest challenge and its greatest opportunity as it stepped onto the interstellar stage. First contact and rising tensions. 6 months after Dr. Samantha Chen and her team's groundbreaking FTL test, humanity was riding a wave of optimism and excitement. The news of faster-than-light travel had united the planet in a way few things ever had. Nations pooled their resources, setting aside old rivalries in the face of the boundless frontier that now lay open before them. Samantha found herself at the center of it all, splitting her time between refining the FTL drive and briefing world leaders on the implications of their discovery. It was during one such briefing at the United Nations headquarters in New York that everything changed. As Samantha stood before the General Assembly, explaining the latest advancements in FTL technology, a hush fell over the room. She turned to see what had captured everyone's attention and felt her breath catch in her throat. A holographic image had appeared in the center of the chamber, depicting the sleek alien vessel unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent sheen, and it moved with a grace that defied the laws of physics as humans understood them. Before anyone could react, a voice filled the chamber, not in any human language, but somehow understood by all present. People of Earth, the voice intoned, its timbre both melodious and slightly discordant to human ears. We are the Zarketh Confederation. Your recent foray into faster-than-light travel has brought you to our attention. We come to welcome you to the greater galactic community. The chamber erupted into chaos as diplomats and world leaders struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what was happening. Samantha stood rooted to the spot, her mind racing with questions and implications. In the days that followed, Earth found itself thrust onto a cosmic stage it was ill-prepared for. The Zarketh, it turned out, were but one of many spacefaring civilizations in the galaxy. They had appointed themselves as humanity's guides to this new realm, but their motives were far from altruistic. As Samantha and a hastily assembled team of Earth's brightest minds engaged in discussions with the Zarketh representatives, a troubling picture began to emerge. The aliens viewed humanity's achievement of FTL travel as a potential threat to the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. You must understand, explained Korax, the Zarketh ambassador, his multifaceted eyes gleaming in the light of the UN chamber. Uncontrolled expansion of new species into the galactic community can lead to conflict and chaos. We have protocols in place to ensure a smooth integration. But as the talks progressed, it became clear that the Zarketh's idea of integration was little more than thinly veiled subjugation. They demanded that Earth hand over all FTL technology, limit its space exploration to pre-approved zones, and submit to Zarketh oversight in all matters of technological development. Samantha found herself at the forefront of Earth's resistance to these demands. Her expertise in FTL technology made her a key figure in the negotiations, and she argued passionately for humanity's right to chart its own course among the stars. We've worked too hard and come too far to simply hand over the keys to our future, she declared in one heated session. Humanity is ready to join the galactic community as equals, not as subjects. But the Zarketh were not easily swayed. As the negotiations dragged on, tensions began to rise. Reports started coming in of Zarketh ships appearing in Earth's orbit, their presence a not-so-subtle threat. World leaders were divided on how to respond. Some advocated for acquiescing to the Zarketh demands, arguing that humanity was out of its depth in this new cosmic arena. Others pushed for a more aggressive stance, urging the rapid militarization of Earth's fledgling space fleet. Samantha found herself caught in the middle, trying to balance the need for caution with the imperative of protecting humanity's interests. She worked tirelessly with her team to improve Earth's FTL capabilities, knowing that their technology was the only leverage they had against the vastly more advanced Zarketh. As the situation grew more tense, Samantha couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. The Zarketh's insistence on controlling Earth's FTL technology seemed out of proportion to the threat a single nascent spacefaring race could pose. It was during a late-night research session that Samantha stumbled upon a potential answer. Buried in the data from their FTL tests was an anomaly she had overlooked before, a unique quantum signature that seemed to defy the laws of physics as understood by both humans and, apparently, the Zarketh. This could be why they're so interested in our technology, Samantha explained to her team, excitement building in her voice. Our approach to FTL travel might be fundamentally different from theirs, and potentially more advanced. The implications were staggering. If Samantha's theory was correct, humanity might hold the key to a form of FTL travel that could revolutionize interstellar transportation. It was no wonder the Zarketh were so eager to get their hands on the technology. But before Samantha could bring her findings to the negotiating table, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the monitors, they'd watched in horror as a fleet of Zarketh ships descended from orbit, weapons primed. The Zarketh had lost patience with diplomacy. They had come to take what they wanted by force. As chaos erupted around her, Samantha knew that the fate of humanity now hung in the balance. The knowledge they had worked so hard to attain had brought them to the brink of interstellar war. Now it would be up to human ingenuity and determination to find a way out of this crisis and secure their place among the stars. The battle for Earth was about to begin, and with it, the true test of humanity's readiness for the cosmic stage. The battle for Earth. The sky over Earth's major cities blazed with the fury of interstellar combat. Zarketh warships, their hulls gleaming with an otherworldly iridescence, rained down beams of destructive energy. Humanity's hastily assembled defense forces fought back with everything they had, but their weapons seemed pitifully inadequate against the advanced alien technology. In the heart of the Rocky Mountain complex, Dr. Samantha Chen and her team worked feverishly to unlock the full potential of their FTL drive. They knew that the fate of their species hung in the balance. "We need more power to the quantum stabilizers," Samantha shouted over the din of alarms and distant explosions. Her fingers flew across holographic interfaces, making adjustments on the fly. Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, his face streaked with sweat and grime, called out from his station, "The containment field is barely holding. If we push it any harder, we risk a catastrophic overload." Samantha gritted her teeth, her mind racing through calculations and possibilities. "We don't have a choice, Marcus. If we can't get this working, there won't be an Earth left to save." As they worked, reports flooded in from around the globe. The Zarketh assault was devastating. Major cities lay in ruins, millions were dead or displaced, and Earth's military forces were being systematically decimated. But humanity wasn't going down without a fight. In orbit, a ragtag fleet of retrofitted satellites and hastily armed space stations harried the Zarketh ships, using their smaller size and knowledge of near-Earth space to their advantage. On the ground, guerrilla forces launched daring raids against Zarketh landing parties, proving that human tenacity could still surprise their technologically superior foes. In Washington, D.C., the remnants of Earth's governments convened in an emergency session. General Laura Hawkins, her uniform scorched and torn from a narrow escape, addressed the assembly. "We can't win this war with conventional tactics," she declared, her voice firm despite the desperation of their situation. "Our only hope lies in Dr. Chen's team, and whatever miracle they can pull out of that FTL drive." Back in the mountain complex, Samantha had a breakthrough. The unique quantum signature they had discovered, the one that had so interested the Zarketh, wasn't just a quirk of their FTL design. It was the key to something far more powerful. "It's not just faster than light travel," she explained to her team, her eyes shining with the light of discovery. "This quantum signature allows us to manipulate the very fabric of space-time itself." The implications were staggering. If they could harness this power, they might be able to create localized fields of distorted space-time, bubbles where the laws of physics could be selectively altered. As the team raced to implement Samantha's insights, the battle above intensified. The Zarketh, sensing that victory was within their grasp, began to concentrate their forces for a final devastating assault on Earth's remaining strongholds. In orbit, Commander Jack Harper of the ISS defense platform watched with a mixture of awe and terror as the Zarketh fleet assembled. "There's so many of them," he whispered, knowing that his next actions would likely be his last. "But we'll make them remember this day." With a word, Harper ordered his fleet to attack. Earth's last ships threw themselves at the Zarketh armada in a desperate bid to buy more time for those on the ground. As the space battle raged, Samantha and her team made their final preparations. They had retrofitted their FTL drive into a device that, if their calculations were correct, could turn the tide of the war. "All systems are go," Marcus reported, his voice tense with anticipation. "Ready on your mark, Sam." Samantha took a deep breath, acutely aware that the fate of her species rested on this moment. "Initiate the sequence," she commanded. The device hummed to life, its components pulsing with otherworldly energy. On screens around the room, they watched as their creation began to affect the very fabric of reality. In orbit, the Zarketh fleet suddenly found itself enveloped in a shimmering field of distorted space-time. Their advanced weapons, designed to work within the normal laws of physics, sputtered and failed. Their ships, unable to navigate in the twisted space, collided with one another in a spectacular display of destruction. Commander Harper, watching from the ISS, couldn't believe his eyes. "My God," he breathed. "They've done it." On the ground, Zarketh ground forces found themselves suddenly cut off from their orbital support. The tables had turned, and now it was the alien invaders who found themselves outmatched and outmaneuvered. As news of the reversal spread, humanity's defenders rallied. From the ruins of cities and the depths of hastily constructed bunkers, they emerged to take the fight back to their would-be conquerors. In the mountain complex, Samantha and her team worked tirelessly to maintain and expand the space-time distortion field. They knew that their advantage might be temporary. The Zarketh, with their vast technological knowledge, would eventually find a way to counter this new weapon. But for now, they had given humanity a fighting chance. As the battle raged on, the true strength of humanity began to shine through. People from all walks of life, from every corner of the globe, united in their struggle against the alien invaders. Scientists worked alongside soldiers. Civilians fought alongside trained military personnel, all driven by the unshakable will to survive and protect their home. In the skies above New York, a squadron of retrofitted passenger jets, armed with hastily adapted energy weapons, engaged in a dogfight with Zarketh fighters. Their pilots, a mix of Air Force veterans and civilian volunteers, used their intimate knowledge of Earth's atmosphere to outmaneuver the alien craft. "Remember, people," called out squadron leader Maria Alvarez, her voice crackling over the comm. "They may have better tech, but we know how to fly in our own backyard." On the ground, in the ruins of London, a group of university students turned guerrilla fighters used their knowledge of the city's ancient underground tunnels to launch surprise attacks on Zarketh patrols. Led by history major turned resistance fighter Tom Watterson, they struck from the shadows, disappearing back into the labyrinth of tunnels before the aliens could retaliate. "For every one of us they take down," Tom shouted as his team prepared for another raid, "we'll make sure 10 of theirs don't go home." Across the globe, similar scenes played out as humanity fought with everything it had. The Zarketh, who had expected an easy conquest, found themselves embroiled in a war of attrition against an enemy that refused to give up. Back in the Rocky Mountain complex, Samantha and her team worked tirelessly to expand the capabilities of their space-time manipulation device. They knew that their current advantage was temporary, and they needed to press it while they could. "If we can recalibrate the quantum field generators," Samantha mused, her eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep, but burning with determination, "we might be able to create localized wormholes. We could use them to instantly transport our forces anywhere on the planet, or even onto the Zarketh ships themselves." As they worked, reports continued to pour in from around the world. The tide was turning, slowly but surely. Humanity, backed into a corner, was fighting back with a ferocity that surprised even themselves. In orbit, Commander Harper and the remaining space forces used the confusion caused by the space-time distortions to board several Zarketh vessels. The battles that raged through the alien corridors were brutal and costly, but they provided invaluable intelligence and captured technology that could turn the tide of the war. On one such captured ship, a young engineer named Aisha Patel made a startling discovery. "They're FTL drives," she reported, her voice filled with excitement. "They're fundamentally different from ours. They rely on bending space, while ours seems to step outside of space altogether." This revelation sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It confirmed what Samantha had suspected. Humanity's approach to FTL travel was not just different, but potentially far more advanced than anything the Zarketh possessed. As the battle for Earth entered its second week, the Zarketh found themselves in an increasingly precarious position. Their initial overwhelming advantage had been nullified, and now they faced a species that grew stronger and more adaptive with each passing day. In a desperate bid to regain the upper hand, the Zarketh launched a massive assault on the Rocky Mountain complex, correctly guessing that it was the source of the technology that had turned the tide against them. Samantha and her team watched in horror as waves of Zarketh ships descended from the sky, their weapons carving deep gashes in the mountainside. "We need more time," Samantha said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We're close to a breakthrough that could end this war, but we need to hold them off just a little longer." As alarms blared and the facility shook with the impact of alien weapons, Earth's defenders rallied for one last, desperate stand. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike took up arms, determined to protect the fragile hope that Samantha and her team represented. Outside the complex, a patchwork army of humanity's finest prepared to face the full might of the Zarketh assault. General Hawkins, her uniform now more patched than original material, addressed the troops. "Today we fight not just for our lives, or even for our planet," she declared, her voice carrying across the assembled crowd. "We fight for the very idea of humanity, for our right to chart our own course among the stars. The Zarketh thought we would be easy prey, but we've shown them the true strength of the human spirit. Now let's show them that we will never, ever surrender." A roar went up from the crowd, a sound of defiance that echoed off the mountains and seemed to shake the very heavens. As the Zarketh forces descended, humanity stood ready to face its greatest challenge. Inside the complex, Samantha and her team raced against time, pushing their technology to its limits. They knew that the fate of their species hung in the balance. With the sounds of battle growing ever closer, they'd prepared to unleash a power that would reshape the very nature of warfare, and potentially, the future of humanity itself. The battle for Earth had reached its climax, and the next few hours would determine the fate of not just a planet, but humanity's place in the cosmic order. Humanity's counterattack. As the Zarketh forces bore down on the Rocky Mountain complex, humanity's last stand was a testament to the indomitable spirit of a species fighting for its very existence. The patchwork army of soldiers, scientists, and civilians held the line with a tenacity that surprised even the battle-hardened alien warriors. Inside the facility, Dr. Samantha Chen and her team worked feverishly, pushing their revolutionary technology to its limits. The air was thick with tension, punctuated by the distant sounds of battle and the occasional tremor as Zarketh weapons found their mark. "We're almost there," Samantha muttered, her fingers flying across holographic interfaces. Just a few more calibrations. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the complex. Marcus looked up from his station, his face pale. "They've breached the outer defenses. We're out of time, Sam." Samantha gritted her teeth, making the split-second decision. "Initiate the sequence. We'll have to finish the calibrations on the fly." As the team scrambled to activate their device, the doors to the lab burst open. A squad of human soldiers, led by a grizzled veteran named Sergeant Mike Donovan, rushed in. "We'll hold them off as long as we can, Doc," Donovan growled, setting up a defensive position. "Just do whatever it is you need to do to end this war." Samantha nodded grimly, turning back to her work as the sounds of battle grew ever closer. Outside, the situation was dire. The Zarketh, realizing the importance of the facility, had committed the bulk of their forces to this assault. Their advanced weaponry tore through human defenses, while their energy shields repelled most return fire. General Hawkins, coordinating the defense from a makeshift command center, watched with a mixture of pride and anguish as her forces fought and died to buy time for Samantha's team. "Whatever you're doing in there, Chin," she muttered, "it better be worth it." Back in the lab, Samantha's device hummed to life, emitting a soft blue glow that seemed to bend the very light around it. "It's working," she breathed, hardly daring to believe it. "We've done it." But before she could explain further, the lab doors exploded inward. Zarketh warriors poured through the opening, their alien weapons glowing with deadly energy. Sergeant Donovan and his team opened fire, but they were hopelessly outgunned. In that moment, as chaos erupted around her, Samantha made a decision that would alter the course of the war, and potentially, the future of humanity. She slammed her hand down on the activation panel, unleashing the full power of their creation. A wave of shimmering energy exploded outward from the device, engulfing the lab and everyone in it. For a brief, terrifying moment, reality itself seemed to twist and warp. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the effects subsided. Samantha opened her eyes, blinking in confusion. The lab was intact, but the Zarketh warriors were gone. In their place stood a group of bewildered-looking humans in unfamiliar uniforms. What happened?" one of them asked, his accent strange to Samantha's ears. Before she could respond, Marcus let out a whoop of joy. It worked. The quantum entanglement field. It didn't just repel the Zarketh, it replaced them. Samantha's mind raced as she grasped the implications. Their device hadn't just manipulated space-time. It had reached across parallel realities, swapping the Zarketh invaders with their human counterparts from alternate Earths. As reports began to flood in from around the globe, the true scope of what they had achieved became clear. Everywhere the device's effect had reached, Zarketh forces had been replaced by humans. The invasion army had, in the blink of an eye, become a multinational, multi-reality peacekeeping force. The war, it seemed, was over. But the challenges facing humanity were only beginning. In the days that followed, Earth found itself host to millions of visitors from parallel realities. Some came from worlds where the Zarketh invasion had never happened, others from timelines where humanity had already spread to the stars. The logistical and societal challenges were enormous, but so too were the opportunities. Samantha, now hailed as the savior of humanity, found herself at the center of a whirlwind of scientific and diplomatic activity. The technology she and her team had created had not only saved Earth, but had opened up entirely new avenues of exploration and advancement. "We stand at a crossroads," she addressed a special session of the United Nations, representatives from dozens of alternate Earths in attendance. "We have been given a second chance, not just to save our world, but to forge a new destiny for humanity across multiple realities." As humanity began the long process of rebuilding and integrating their alternate reality counterparts, they also turned their eyes back to the stars. The threat of the Zarketh had been neutralized on Earth, but they were still out there. And now humanity had to prepare for its emergence onto the galactic stage. Samantha and her team worked tirelessly to refine their quantum entanglement technology. They theorized that it could be used not just for defense, but as a revolutionary means of space travel, potentially allowing instantaneous transportation across vast distances. Meanwhile, the knowledge and technology brought by their alternate reality visitors accelerated human advancement at an unprecedented rate. Within months, the first truly faster-than-light ships were ready for launch, incorporating a combination of Samantha's quantum entanglement principles and technology adapted from more advanced parallel Earths. As the inaugural flight of the CSS Prometheus, Earth's first FTL-capable starship, prepared for launch, Samantha stood on the observation deck, watching the bustle of activity around the sleek vessel. She felt a mixture of pride, excitement, and trepidation. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a familiar voice said behind her. She turned to see Marcus, now sporting a commander's uniform of Earth's new unified Space Force. Samantha smiled. "It's more than I ever dreamed possible. We're really doing it, Marcus. We're taking our place among the stars." Marcus nodded, his expression turning serious. "The Zarketh are still out there, Sam. And now that we've proven ourselves to be more than they bargained for, you can bet they'll be preparing for round 2. "Let them come," Samantha said, her voice filled with determination. "This time, we'll be ready for them. And we won't be fighting just for Earth, but for humanity across all realities." As they watched, the Prometheus's engines flared to life, bathing the launch pad in a brilliant blue glow. With a roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of the Earth, the ship rose into the sky, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of billions. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger than ever. Now, united across realities and armed with technologies beyond their wildest dreams, they were ready to take their place in the cosmic arena. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of human ascendancy had begun. A new era for humankind. 5 years after the Zarketh invasion and humanity's miraculous victory, Earth had transformed into a bustling hub of interstellar activity. The skylines of major cities now featured gleaming spires that stretched into the upper atmosphere, serving as space elevators that connected the planet to a network of orbital stations. Dr. Samantha Chen, now revered as one of the greatest scientists in human history, stood aboard the observation deck of Harmony Station, Earth's premier orbital facility. She watched as ships from dozens of alternate Earths, each with their own unique designs and technologies, docked and departed in a carefully choreographed dance. "Impressive, isn't it?" a voice said beside her. Samantha turned to see Admiral Jack Harper, formerly commander of the ISS Defense Platform, now the head of Earth's Unified Space Command. Samantha nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come in such a short time." Indeed, the progress humanity had made was nothing short of astounding. The integration of knowledge and technology from multiple realities had catapulted human advancement forward by centuries. Cities across the globe had been rebuilt using revolutionary materials and designs. Clean energy was abundant, and diseases that had once plagued humanity were now easily curable. But perhaps the most significant advancements had been in space travel and exploration. Samantha's quantum entanglement technology, combined with innovations from more advanced alternate Earths, had given humanity the ability to traverse vast distances in the blink of an eye. The Prometheus is due back from its mission to the Andromeda Galaxy any moment now, Harper said, checking his advanced holographic wristwatch. "Word is, they've made some interesting discoveries." As if on cue, a shimmering portal opened in space before them. The CSS Prometheus, its sleek hull bearing the scars of its incredible journey, emerged from the quantum tunnel. Samantha felt a surge of pride. The Prometheus, the first of Earth's new breed of explorer ships, had been her brainchild. Its mission to Andromeda was a bold statement to the galaxy. Humanity was here, and they were ready to take their place among the stars. As the Prometheus docked, Samantha and Harper made their way to the debriefing room. Captain Maria Alvarez, once a fighter pilot during the Zarketh invasion, now commanded Earth's flagship. Her face, displayed on the room's holographic projector, looked tired but exhilarated. "Admiral, Dr. Chen," she greeted them, her eyes shining with excitement. "We've got one hell of a report for you." Over the next hour, Alvarez and her crew detailed their findings. They had encountered no fewer than 3 previously unknown alien civilizations, established diplomatic relations with 2 of them, and narrowly avoided conflict with the 3rd. But the most startling discovery came from the farthest reaches of Andromeda. "We detected energy signatures consistent with Zarketh technology," Alvarez reported, her voice grave. "It appears they've established a significant presence in Andromeda, and from what we could gather, they're preparing for something big." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Zarketh, it seemed, had not given up their expansionist ambitions. They had merely shifted their focus to another galaxy. "We always knew they were still out there," Harper said, breaking the silence. "Now we know where. The question is, what do we do about it?" All eyes turned to Samantha. In the years since the invasion, she had become more than just a scientist. She was a symbol of human ingenuity and resilience, a voice of reason in the newly formed Interiality Council that governed Earth's relations with its alternate counterparts. Samantha took a deep breath, her mind racing with possibilities. "We have an opportunity here," she said slowly. "The Zarketh don't know about our advancements, about our ability to reach Andromeda. We have the element of surprise." She stood, pacing the room as she continued. "But more importantly, we have something the Zarketh have never understood: unity. Not just unity among our own people, but unity across realities. We've learned to work together, to combine our strengths and overcome our differences." Samantha turned to face the others, her eyes blazing with determination. "I propose we launch a diplomatic mission to Andromeda. We'll reach out to the civilizations there, warn them about the Zarketh threat, and offer our help. Together, we can stop the Zarketh before they can threaten another galaxy." Admiral Harper nodded slowly, a smile spreading across his face. "A preemptive peace mission instead of a preemptive strike. That's why you're the brains of this operation, Dr. Chen." Over the next few months, Earth was a flurry of activity as the ambitious Andromeda mission took shape. The CSS Prometheus was refitted with the latest technological advancements, its crew carefully selected from the best and brightest across multiple realities. Dr. Samantha Chen, despite initial protests, was chosen to lead the diplomatic team. Her experience with the Zarketh, combined with her scientific expertise and diplomatic skills, honed over years of interiality negotiations, made her the ideal candidate. On the day of the launch, millions gathered around the world to watch the historic event. The Prometheus, gleaming in the sunlight, stood ready on its launch pad, a testament to how far humanity had come. Samantha stood before the assembled crew, a mix of humans from various Earths, and even a few representatives from friendly alien species they'd encountered in their own galaxy. "Today, we embark on humanity's greatest journey yet," she began, her voice carrying across the attentive crowd. "We go not as conquerors or colonizers, but as peacekeepers and allies. Our mission is to unite a galaxy against a common threat, to forge bonds of friendship across the cosmic void." She paused, looking at each crew member in turn. "The Zarketh once thought us weak, easy prey for their expansionist ambitions. We proved them wrong. Now we have the chance to show them, and the universe, what humanity truly stands for: cooperation, innovation, determination, and above all, hope." A cheer went up from the crew, their excitement palpable. As Samantha made her way to the bridge, she felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. They were about to leap into the unknown, to challenge a powerful enemy on a galactic scale, but she was confident in her team, in the alliances they'd forged, and in the strength of the human spirit. Captain Alvarez smiled as Samantha took her place on the bridge. "Ready to make history again, Doctor?" Samantha nodded, returning the smile. "Always, Captain. Let's show the universe what humanity can do. With a command from Alvarez, the Prometheus's quantum engines hummed to life. In a flash of brilliance that outshone the sun, the ship vanished, leaping across millions of light years to emerge in the star-studded expanse of the Andromeda Galaxy. As they gazed upon the awe-inspiring vista of a new galaxy, Samantha felt a swell of emotion. This was what humanity had always dreamed of: exploring the cosmos, facing new challenges, and reaching out to touch the infinite. The Zarketh threat loomed on the horizon, a formidable challenge that would test humanity's resolve and ingenuity once again. But Samantha knew that they were ready, united across realities, armed with unparalleled technology and an unbreakable spirit. Humanity was prepared to face whatever the universe had in store. As the Prometheus set course for their first diplomatic encounter in this new galaxy, Samantha reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. From the brink of annihilation to the cusp of a new era of galactic cooperation, humanity had proven its worth among the stars. The battle for Earth had been won, but the quest to secure humanity's place in the cosmos was just beginning. With determination in their hearts and stars in their eyes, Samantha and her crew were ready to write the next chapter in humanity's grand cosmic adventure. As the Andromeda Galaxy spread out before them, teeming with unknown wonders and challenges, one thing was certain: humanity's light would shine brightly across the universe, a beacon of hope, innovation, and unity for all species who looked to the stars and dreamed of a better tomorrow. The era of human ascendancy had truly begun, and the universe would never be the same again.